Hello, everyone. Welcome to LeeLive. Wow, I've had a very enjoyable Friday so far. In regards to, well, getting up is getting kind of a pain. I don't know what the deal is, but I'm having trouble getting out of bed most days. It's kind of strange. Once I get going though, it's great. But before bed and after I got up, it's been nothing but a blast. And a big reason for that is the current game of the year 2020, the best game to come out on March 20th, 2020, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Animal Crossing is becoming a phenomenon already. I think most people are very impressed with it. Very impressed with what this game does, what it offers, what it delivers on. Animal Crossing does feel like something a little bit different for the franchise. Not quite to the extent that I think Breath of the Wild did for Zelda, because it's still very much core Animal Crossing, in which you're sort of building and customizing a town, essentially. But New Horizons feels a lot like New Leaf in this regard, where it feels like you have even more control over what you're doing. It's kind of amazing at how much stuff you can do in this game. How much flexibility you have in developing your town. You can choose where your villagers live. You can choose where the museum is. You can there's all this stuff you can make yourself. You have like different kinds of currency. You have like Nook miles. You have the traditional bells. You have like all these things you can do with them. Day one, it's kind of difficult. I think I did everything I could really do on my first day. I might be wrong about this, but like I got my museum set up. I got like lots of achievements. I did go around and try to do things, but at this point, I think it's going to be very difficult to really tell how good New Horizons is day one, or even within the first week or the first month, maybe even the first year, because this is a game that I think is going to have more of a growth period than is going to be even more of a time sink than the classic games, the original games, the last four games, because I feel like this whole aspect of like entirely customizing your island to how you want it to be is going to be this incredibly deep, complex thing that's going to take days of playtime to really sort of like trick out your town to where it's where you want it to be, right? Like there are so many things that I want to do already, like outdoor furniture. Like I've already played around with that a little bit. Flowers are built more into the environment this time. More things you can do with that. Rivers. You're going to need bridges. You're going to need ways to cross the rivers. You're going to need. I can't even explore my entire island yet because of how it's set up. I think they're all like that. I think they all have rivers going through them, and you have to eventually get this method of transporting across them, which is really cool as shit, right? Making your own tools. You can buy tools or you can make them yourself, and this means that you can upgrade your equipment, and your equipment does break. Is Jim Sterling going to come out and try to tell people that Animal Crossing sucks because the equipment breaks? No, it gives you more incentive to sort of to get better equipment, essentially. Like there's more things you can do, there's more things you can use, there's all these reasons to sort of to keep coming back and keep checking in day after day. Uh, there's a mechanic, the Nook Mile ATM. There's this thing that you have to check every day to get Nook Miles, and you get more points if you check in multiple days in a row. So you are essentially incentivized to come back every single day to get more points. Like I am going to be playing this game every day for the next probably for a really, really long time. Especially now that I've made the very big brain decision to cancel my physical order and just get the digital version instead. So I do own the digital version of Animal Crossing New Horizons. It is the first Nintendo game I've ever, major Nintendo game, I should say, that I've bought the digital version for on day one. And I already am very, very happy with that decision because Animal Crossing is such a time-consuming franchise, and the way it works, like, having to check in every day. I don't want to be carrying around my Switch, want to play Animal Crossing, and then be like, oh, I don't have the physical copy of the game with me, so I'm fucked. No, Animal Crossing is becoming the franchise that I think I'm primarily going to be buying digitally going forward because I think the digital format suits it so well. I think it does really build on this I think it really does help the game. I think it makes it easier to come back to it, like what I'm doing now. I'm switching between Bayonetta, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, and Animal Crossing. I play Animal Crossing. This is going to be my schedule for the next week or so, the next month or so. I'm going to play Animal Crossing, do everything I want to do, move on to Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, die, and then wait to be rescued, and then go on to Bayonetta and try to platinum that. I am in the process of platinuming Bayonetta 1, and it's great. I'll be definitely talking about that further. Platinuming Bayonetta. If you do that, if you try to go for the real 100%, 60-hour plus playthrough of Bayonetta, try to do everything you can possibly do in that game, you will have the time of your life. That is the main reason I think it's really, really obvious to me that Bayonetta is better than Devil May Cry and other similar action games because it does have an insane replay value without feeling tedious or boring. I actually did just play Chapter 4, Fortitudo, the first boss, I want to say 7, 8, 9, 10 times around that time, back to back, right? I was playing this boss over and over and over again, shredding it to pieces, trying to get that platinum award, and I finally did it, and I had a blast the entire time. It never got boring or dull or derivative. If I don't get physically tired of playing Bayonetta, I don't want to stop. I just love this game. Definitely one of my all-time favorite. Not just one of my favorite action games, or if not the favorite action game. It's one of my favorite games. Period. It really is. I do think at this point, I would consider Bayonetta a top 10 game for me. Being completely honest with you, right up there with Ocarina and Super Mario. What is my favorite? Probably Super Mario Bros. 3 Advance for the Wii U. Yeah, it has to be Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Bros. 3 for the Wii U, the one that has the e-reader levels. I love that version of the game. That reminds me, I really need to go back and buy a lot of these ports of these Game Boy Advance ports on the Wii U for the Super Mario Advance games. I would love to play Super Mario Bros. 2 Advance. Super Mario Advance, which is just Super Mario Bros. 2 Advance. This whole Advance setup, it was so strange. They they mixed them up. Super Mario Advance 3 was Yoshi's Island, which was originally Super Mario World 2. It's so confusing. But it's so confusing to keep track of. Super Mario Advance was Super Mario Advance 2 was Super Mario World. It's all over the place. And then the fourth one was Super Mario Bros. 3. But I love Advance 4, Super Mario Bros. 3. It's my favorite version of the game, similar to like how Super Mario Bros. Deluxe is my favorite version of Super Mario Bros. So we're gonna have to see it. Oh yeah, yeah. That's definitely another thing that needs to be brought up. It feels like Nintendo is making really good remakes of games again. I was getting kind of worried with like Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga being kind of bare bones and basic, and Twilight Princess HD not being nearly as good as Wind Waker HD. Right, like I felt like they weren't doing nearly as much as they used to with these deluxe versions of games, with these re-releases. But I think that's coming to an end. Like I think we're reaching a comeback because I am completely enamored with Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. It is my favorite remake of the year so far. I would say it's probably my favorite game of the year, but like it's a re-release of a game I already really liked. I haven't quite finished it. I'm literally climbing the Sky Tower at the end right now, and I do have a couple of thoughts. For one thing, the game is a lot easier than I remember it. Probably because when I was a kid, I wasn't being rescued through the internet all the time. Like when I did die, it just yeah. When you do that, it makes me feel like that's what the game was based around. That you're supposed to be doing that all the time. When I wasn't doing it at all when I was a kid, so I was playing this game for like hours and hours trying to get to like the end of Sky Tower or like that really annoying segment in the middle part of the game where well, the middle part of the story where like you're a fugitive. Um, uh, especially if you have a type of disadvantage against fire, right? You are completely screwed. Uh, I love Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. It's love it, and I'm optimistic that we're going to continue getting really good remakes going forward. Hopefully not just from Nintendo. I would love to see Capcom come out and release uh, the Oracle games on there. Well, I guess that is a Nintendo game. That's the main thing. I want to see Link's Awakening Switch. I want that engine with the Oracle games. Like, the Oracle games are legit some of the most underrated Zelda games out there right now. Like, they are legitimately probably some of my favorite games in the series, right? And nobody talks about them. It's so strange. Probably because it came out so late in the Game Boy lifespan, and this was in the height of like the early days, right? Of like the oh, Nintendo is on the way out sort of situation. Well, maybe not the early days. That's kind of been happening since Final Fantasy VII, but 2001, Nintendo was still trying to. The Wii hadn't come out yet. Nintendo hadn't like really found its Iwata Angle era drive yet. Before the Wii, even before the DS. So yeah, I think the games were kind of forgotten for that reason. But yeah, those games need to be remade. That's another topic in general. Like, just what games deserve to be remade? I would love to see Super Mario 64 Switch, right? Like something like 64 DS, which takes the original game and does all this weird stuff with it. Like, I would love to see an expanded version of Super Mario 64. Like the same engine, the same angles, the same physics, like everything the same, just with new areas to explore, more things to do. Maybe a new final boss, maybe like a new epic one. Like imagine like incorporating like this incredible obstacle course in with like a Bowser fight, right? Like imagine like just running through entire areas where you have to fight Bowser and like get him to where you need to be to attack. Like there's all this stuff you could do theoretically with that engine, and I hope it someday gets made. Like the game is over 20 years old now. Like DS is almost 15. It came out like what in 2004. It was a launch title for the DS, so over 15. So yeah, when even the DS remake is kind of on the old side, we do need to think about like doing it again. Especially since it's not available on Switch the way it was on Wii U or Wii. This is the good time to do it. I would Maybe I would recommend doing Sunshine first. Sunshine is like the big one. That's kind of a trend for me. Like I want them to go back and fix games that need to be fixed. Like Sunshine is a good example. Maybe Star Fox Advent. Well, maybe not Star Fox Adventures because that's not a Nintendo game. Sunshine is the one I've always been. I've been thinking about since I finished it in 2017. Was it 2017? It might have been 2016. It's been a while. Sunshine's been the one I've been thinking about since I did that 100% playthrough of it, where I just ended up hating it. It was so bad. Once you get that point, once you get to that point where you have to collect all the coins, like when you do that, the game becomes ridiculous. The game is just really obnoxious. I am not a fan of 100%ing Sunshine. It's fun when you're doing like a standard playthrough, but like when you reach the point where like you have to collect coins, yeah, it's not worth it. Like don't. I fully expect I will never 100% that game again. I'm being completely serious. I don't think it's a game I want to go back to ever. Handheld Zelda games are very underrated. Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that. I feel, there are lots of Zelda games I would consider to be great that are on handhelds. Link's Awakening is one of my favorite games of all time. The Oracle games, and A Link Between Worlds is one of my favorite games of all time. And Spirit Tracks. Spirit Tracks, I think, is probably the most underrated Zelda game out there. If only because it's associated with the atrocious, as I recall, Phantom Hourglass. So we're going to. I would definitely like to see more love given to these handheld games for sure. Like this is a. That's probably the main thing Nintendo should be doing right now. Is just let's put all of these handheld franchises on console so people can stop ignoring them, right? Because I do think that was kind of the problem back in like 2000, back in the 90s and 2000s, and maybe even the last decade, in which people were writing off Nintendo handhelds, right? People were ignoring them. Like 3DS was the most successful video game platform of last generation, but people ignore it in favor of hyping up the Vita, of hyping up the PlayStation 4. When PlayStation 4 isn't competing with the 3DS, it was competing with the Switch. So, and which the Switch is stomping it. So, the Switch is going to stop the PS5 as well. But yeah, seeing I would like to see the main thing I would like to see from Switch. Well, not the main thing, but a thing I would like to see from Switch is just HD re-releases of some of the more obscure 3DS games, like a Dylan collection, a Codename Steam release, maybe a sequel, Codename Steam HD, Triforce Heroes re-release. There's all this stuff. Federation Force HD. Like I think with the Switch, there's they could do a lot with a lot of these games that didn't necessarily do super well on 3DS. People were just, desperate to attack the 3DS and Nintendo no matter what. And now would be a great time to sort of do that. But maybe older games. Like, again, Wario Land needs a. Lots of the old Wario Land games need re-releases. I would love. We still have not gotten a proper Wario Land Virtual Boy re-release. I've heard it's a great game, but I would love to see it like remade for Switch. I'm a big Wario Land fan, but I'm not buying a Virtual Boy. How much do Virtual Boys even cost? Like, can you even get one? Hang on, Virtual Boy. How much do they cost? I have no idea. I've never even thought about getting one. Nintendo Virtual Boy video game console, 230. Wow, really? Yeah, Wario Land, 60. Yeah, I mean, I'm not buying Virtual Boy for like one game, right? I could probably Mario Clash 50. It probably wouldn't be too difficult to get all the games. It would cost a couple of $100, but I mean, the nerd did it, right? The AVGN did it, so I'm sure I could do it. It's not outside the realm of possibility for me, but like I'm just not that interested in Virtual Boy. I would rather just play the game on a modern console. I'm not really interested in collecting Virtual Boy. Never been interested, but I have been interested in playing Wario Land Virtual Boy. So yeah, that's a port we need. Uh, yeah, that's a topic for that's a good topic. What Nintendo games should be re-released for Switch? I've already said we need to port everything from PS4 and Xbox One onto Switch. So what other Nintendo games need to be remade? That's definitely a topic we need to talk about. That's definitely a topic we'll need to talk about in the future. All right, so Animal Crossing is a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. Let's see. I'm really enjoying it so far, but it's going to be a while before I can really give my full thoughts on it. Yes, so. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. I am so upset. Like, I am so angry that I did not have a chance to stream. Well, I could have streamed, but I just didn't. I am I am so I am just so angry right now. I cannot even begin. I think a lot of people sort of underestimate how terrible GameStop actually is as a company. Like people can as someone who's dated GameStop girls in the past, I can tell you GameStop is a lot worse than the public is aware, right? Like nobody likes working for GameStop. Like no one. Like it is the worst, the absolute worst place to work, especially right now. Like people will like always make fun of Walmart and stuff like that, but GameStop is just as bad, if not worse. Well, maybe that's an exaggeration. Maybe Maybe like the people on the floor are like cool. I think Walmart's problem is that like it tends to have like terrible staff everywhere, like at all levels of the company, like including on the floor. GameStop has like the absolute worst, the worst management ever. Like you always hear stuff like, oh, they don't pay overtime, they do all this shady shit, like the trade-in policy. There's all these reasons they hate them, but this is an absolute new low. This is an absolute new low. GameStop is forcing employees to work during a pandemic. Let me repeat that. We are in the middle of a plague, and GameStop is forcing its people to go to work. Like GameStop is making people work a public service job, a non-essential public service job during during Captain Trips, like during a plague, like during an entire situation in which the entire country is not leaving their homes. GameStop is making people go in to sell copies of Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've actually heard a lot of speculation about why they're doing this, and I do think this is the main reason, the big reason that needs to be like really emphasized. They can't afford not to. Like GameStop is completely reliant on these major video game releases. Selling these major video game releases to stay relevant. Like if they shut down during the launch period of two major games, including one of the hottest games of the year, Animal Crossing New Horizons, they're not coming back. Like if GameStop shuts down for like even a week, they are done. Like if GameStop shuts down on on a national scale, international scale, I think. Are they an international company? I think they are. If they shut down on an international scale, a national scale even, for a week, they are done. They cannot afford to stay afloat. They are that close to the brink of bankruptcy. They are that close to stepping out of the industry. And I think this, in and of itself, is going to destroy all the goodwill that some people gave them for, like, bringing on Reggie. Like, oh, Reggie, he's cool, he's based, he'll save GameStop for sure. GameStop... GameStop does not need to be saved, okay? GameStop needs to be put down like a dog, okay? They need to go. Like, you don't just keep up this toxic company, like, this non-essential company in this way. You don't damage control them. Like, you just... There's no defending this. There really is no defending this. GameStop really should just go out of business. Like, that is the perfectly acceptable route to take in this situation. Like, go out of business. Like, so what? Get another job. It's just... GameStop, I think, is... this is going to kill them. Like, I am being completely honest. Like, there is no way that the government isn't going to crack down on them eventually. Like, I think they mostly just wanted to stay open for these 2 days so they could get Doom Eternal out and they could get Animal Crossing out. And then they might be forced to close up. I think they're being forced to close. I'm sure they'll be forced to shut down eventually, but like the fact that they even tried this to begin with is just disgusting. Unbelievable. Let's see. Do you consider messing with the system clock to skip days in Animal Crossing cheating? Yes, I do. Yep, that is cheating for sure. Yep, GameStop is on the way out, which is a good thing, but I kind of wish it wasn't like, I wish it wasn't a thing where they sort of I wish it wasn't a thing where they put their employees at risk. I wish they did something to they had another way. Like, I wish they were just like, yeah, I don't know, did something. Like, again, it's kind of difficult. It is kind of difficult to rationalize just how this could have worked for them. I think at the end, it just couldn't work. Like, they're an irrelevant company that everyone hates. We're at the point now where even the employees hate this company. Like, I've heard that, like, people just refuse to show up. Like, people just straight up just did not go in to sell these games, to work there during this pandemic. And I don't blame them. Like, if I was still... like, I would probably do the same thing. Well, I say that, but I keep going to work. I don't know what I'm thinking, but... yeah, yeah, even the Joker washes his hands. Yeah, GameStop is just complete trash. Complete trash. All right, so I think that's everything I wanted to cover. Yeah, maybe I'll come back on tomorrow and talk some more about stuff. Yeah, maybe talk some more impressions about Animal Crossing. So I think I'm going to cut it short tonight. I actually do want to get back into playing games. So until then, I will...